Parents, I have a very important question for you. What are you doing for self-care? In the best of times, we are not great at this, right? Like in our normal everyday schedule, maybe Monday to Friday, kids are at school, we do some stuff that we think is for ourselves. And then Saturday and Sunday come and we sort of trudge through the weekend. By the time we get to Monday, we're like, oh God, get the kids back to school so I can get back to my routine, myself. So I want everybody to really think about this as we kind of create a new normal right now. Maybe you're in the process of setting up a new routine for your kids. I want you to think about in that process, where can you build in what you need into that schedule, or how can you give yourself the time that you need? And the first piece of that is knowing what it is that you need, because it's different for every person. When I was single in my 20s, it was like self-care all day, every day. Like I just did whatever I felt like doing. And that's why it can be such a hard transition going into parenthood, right? Because all of a sudden, everything that we do is based on the needs of someone else. So even just in normal, everyday, non-pandemic life, we have to figure out what it is that we need to fulfill ourselves. So I want you guys to think about this for a second. Just sit or maybe journal. What is it that your soul needs? What do you need to feel balanced and grounded? So again, it's different for every person. Try to think of it this way, maybe. If no one was depending on you, if you are not responsible for anyone else, if you had no financial responsibilities, if you could just do whatever you wanted to do in a day, what would that consist of? What would you do if you had no other responsibilities? So for me, that looks like physical activity, getting into my body. Yoga, obviously, being a yoga teacher, yoga is a huge thing for me. But even before I was a yogi, running and cycling were my meditation methods, the way that I connected with myself. So getting to do something that is physically just for me without distraction. So family bike rides and family walks and family yoga, all that stuff is great, but that doesn't give me what I need. I need to be able to do my physical thing without distraction, where I can just like focus inward, even if it's doing a Peloton ride or whatever that is. So I know that that's what I need for me. I also need just quiet time by myself. And it's so awesome. I'm so lucky that my husband is here and we're all in quarantine together. But I'm feeling like this needs to be a different shade. Super lucky that we're all in quarantine together, but also I need time alone. So it's a really good chance for you to talk to your partner, if you have one, and maybe work out a schedule for ways to give each other breaks, acknowledging that you guys both probably need time alone, and working that out together. If you're a single parent, obviously this is more difficult. Or if your partner is still working and not in the house, obviously that's more difficult. But I just want everybody to think about what is it that you need, and then try to figure out a way to give it to yourself. I think sometimes we feel really selfish taking that time for ourselves, but what you're doing is modeling for your kids what they should be doing for their own emotional health. They need to understand that the world doesn't completely revolve around them. They need to understand that every person is entitled to doing what they need to do to be emotionally healthy. So you're showing them that, and maybe you can even include them in that conversation. Maybe everybody sits down together and says, okay, what is it that I need right now? And you can make a list, and then maybe they become a part of that process, and then they understand when you say, okay, mom needs to go do this thing by herself. I need to go read a book, or I need to, if you're a musician, maybe it's that you need to play some music, or you're an artist, maybe you need to create some art. Whatever it is, whatever your thing is, explaining to your child why that's important and why they should respect and honor that time that you need for yourself. Obviously, that's easier when you have older kids because they can kind of get it. I have a 4-year-old who gives no craps about my boundaries and what I need. So that's where you kind of have to balance it and maybe build it into a schedule. She can be entertained for 30 minutes on her iPad. And so maybe that is where I say, okay, I have to take this time for myself. Also, if you have little kids and they nap, I used to always feel like when my kids napped that I had to get stuff done. I had to do the laundry or get dinner ready. And over time I figured out, no, I don't. That's my time. When my kids are napping, I'm on high alert all day long. I'm on high alert all day. When my kids are asleep, I can rest. I can take the time to do whatever it is that I feel like I need in that moment. A lot of times it was just zoning out and watching some bad television. But like I needed that reset. So honor that in yourself. Honor that you need a reset. Don't feel guilty about not trying to rush around and get everything done when you actually do have the opportunity for some downtime. Take it. So the other thing that you can take a look at is also what do you, in terms of your, how do I want to say this? Your physical needs, which might be partner-based or maybe not partner-based, because there's options for meeting your needs alone. What are your intimacy needs? So talk to your partner about that. And the trouble with this can sometimes be that, hi babe, as I'm being summoned by my 4-year-old. The problem with sometimes the intimacy conversation is that two people might have very different needs. And but it's a good opportunity to talk openly about it. And what are your needs and how do we get those met? Maybe that is alone time also. So this is a real opportunity for everybody to tap into themselves, to figure out what they need personally, and also to have really open conversations with their partner, their families about what do we all need and how do we make sure that everyone is fulfilled. Not just during this time, but something that you can, when we start to return back to normal, use that in your everyday life. So that's my suggestion. Look inside, take some time to sit with these questions, maybe journal with them. Ask yourself, what does my soul need? Ask yourself, if I wasn't in charge of anybody else and I had no financial responsibilities, what would I be doing? What would I do every day? And then see if there's ways that you can build that in. Take care of yourselves, you guys. Okay.